there's no heat. You know what I'm saying? Like there's folks that as soon as
You're
you see it, it's the
butterflies.
passion. Yeah, like man, that caterpillar done turned to a butterfly. That might ain't gonna be flirting all the. It's not gonna be doing all this all the time. Like those butterflies go away, don't they? After we've always said the honeymoon stage, and now you've been with this person, you kind of really know them now. The things that didn't bother you when you was first with them, now every little thing bothers you. But you've been with them for so long and you love them and you're kind of content. You're like, all right, you know what? That shit irritates the hell out of me, but I still love them. But doesn't mean when they come in, you know your heart starts to pound a little harder, or So is the idea to continue to keep that feeling, or is it just to then get to a place of comfortability and content?
I think if we are looking at 2022, 2023, I think it's very rare that you have it. It is there. There are folks, and I think a bit that's not in our generation. I think not in our generation. I think in our grandparents or parents' generation that these people are still alive, which they've given 50, 60 years to this person. Um, I think that I think it is that butterfly love, like teenagers. You've been with this person. I think the feeling is different. I think our generation and this generation now, I think is very rare because this our generation and this generation right now is on the microwave generation.
I think you have to go to the generation before your parents, your
Right.
grandparents.
Your grandparents. Because I think with that, they understood, they took the time to really fall in love with the person that they wanted. They
And when
got
there
to
was
know
issues,
that person.
and when there was issues, they weren't that quick to walk away. Like, we're gonna
Yes.
work, we're gonna figure this thing out. We're gonna
We
work this thing out. Now it's like, oh, you changed the channel? I want a divorce.
right, right, right. You can put your socks in a hamper. I'm out
Right.
of here.
I'm out of here.
You know, um, but I do think that though. But again, you know, as I said before, I think it is very rare. But I believe that there are folks that are out here that every time they see their significant other, it is butterflies. And 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 is and I say that is because I think they work on the relationship. They put effort into the relationship. What you're saying in being complacent in a relationship, you just when you start falling out of love with the person, is because really now you ain't really working on the relationship. You just there. You in cruise control. You ain't doing date night. You guys are not going on vacation together. You know, you're not doing little special things for her or him like you used to when you guys were in that honeymoon stage. You just put your seatbelt on and you guys are rolling down the highway
Cruise
on cruise
control.
control. You know, and I think again, if there are there are folks that are out here that love each other and they're putting in that work um, for that. But I do agree with you though, Doc. There are folks that's out here that I love you. I don't want to get out here in this relationship pool, you know. So you know what? I'm gonna just stick in here and I'm gonna just be complacent. and we'll
Because
just
I
go
know
through the
you now. Like if
motions.
I leave you, I got to start this damn process all over again.
And I don't want to do that.
I
So
want to do that.
I'm comfortable here. We got a good thing going on here. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I'm gonna just stay right here. I agree. There are folks that's out there that's like that. No doubt. 100%.
Can you truly be happy in that type of situation?
I think you can. I think it's spotty. I don't think
But
because
being in love is spotty too, though.
but I think correct me if I'm wrong. What you're saying really at the end of the day is like, can you be happy knowing that yeah you love the person but you're not in love with the person? Is that what you're asking? So then I'm gonna say yeah you can, but I think it's spotty. It's because I think you said it earlier, just on the end of like it'll be those moments where somebody says something to you and then like you get upset, you get mad. You know what I mean? I think that's where it gets spotty. Is because it's got like, man, I can't even sit in my man cave, without you coming in here, asking me to change the light bulb or, wash the dishes or do this or do that. Like, you can't just give me a minute. You know, I do think that. So, on the flip side of that, you can be in love with the person because you don't you don't want you don't want nobody else. You don't want nobody else. You do want this person, but you guys stop working on your relationship and you don't know how to jumpstart it again. Now, I will say this though too. Kids can play a major factor in the downgrade of a relationship.
Because you don't want to take your kids through having to start all over and do all that stuff. So if it's a comfortable environment, but it's not necessarily any love there, but you don't want to have to uproot your kids and have them, go through a whole nother vetting process of other folks. You're like, I'm just gonna stay. I love the person. I can deal with them enough to, man, I know a bunch of people in that situation. Really.
Mm-hmm. And then also, like, the same as what you're saying, but at the same time of, when you have kids, it's hard to focus on your relationship because you guys are focused on the kids. So your relationship sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes takes a back seat because you focus on your kids.
Yeah, I know. So I have a friend right now who is miserable in their situation, have kids, and if they didn't, they would have shook. And now really trying to figure out, like, the only thing that's is keeping them is because they don't want to split their household up. Mm-hmm. So because of that, and I get it. But I also said, kids are super smart and super intuitive. And do you necessarily want your kids to be in a situation where the parents aren't getting along or one is not treating the other one right? Kids know, and they can sense that. Mm-hmm. And if you're trying to instill respect and all that stuff to your kids, then they have to see you in a situation where you're giving it and getting it, right? And because that then can trickle down to them in their relationships when they end up getting older. So yes, it might be difficult to end the relationship, but I think in the long run, it'll help the kids and get them out of an environment that is toxic, where they are not necessarily where they're always hearing yelling and this parent is cussing this parent out and all that stuff. Like, that's also damaging for the child.
Mm-hmm.
So staying strictly for that, I think, and so many times it can hurt because kids understand they know.
Oh, I absolutely 100% agree with you. I mean, I know someone um, that literally they were like, well, they already knew that they were going to separate.
Mm-hmm.
They already knew it, but they was like, you know what? We'll wait until the kids get into
Because
high
they're
school.
gone. Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
it was like we'll
Oh,
wait until they get
okay.
into high school.
So they have a better
They
understanding.
got, but yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We'll wait until they get into high school. But it's like you feel the tension in the house. Mom, dad really not talking to one another. Everybody's on eggshells. Like these kids, like I 100% agree with you. Kids understand it. They feel that. They see that. And are you giving your kids the example that they should in the long run of doing
Mm-hmm.
this? And you think you're protecting them, but I think in some ways you are, then other ways you're not. And I say that like I know you're protecting them on the end of trying to keep the family together, the values together. I see that, you know. Try not to argue in front of them, those values. But knowing that they see this negative energy, they feel it, and you want to stick around and keep it because you thinking that they don't notice it, but
Mm-hmm.
they do.
Yeah, man, kids are smart. Yeah, I get the premise. I get the idea of you wanting to keep your family together, and I totally understand that. But doing it for them, you're not happy. So how much happiness can you give them? Because you're not
Mm-hmm.
happy, you're unsatisfied. Um, and I think I think it's also I get the idea of like I saw somebody in the chat say one of their friends was waiting until their child went to high school or got out of high school, and even you just said that because there's a better understanding. But don't you think when a child is younger, it um, they'll become accustomed to it. They will adapt to it, right? I'd rather give them more time to adapt to it as opposed to waiting for them to get to a certain age. And then they've seen this mistreatment in the house up until they get to that age. Where if they're younger and you get out of that situation, kids will bounce back, but leaving them in that situation because you're waiting for them to get older, I think can leave a longer lasting effect because they've seen it for so long, as opposed to getting them out of that.
No, I agree. I agree. Um, but as young kids, and I'm saying, like, if you look at like infants are really not going to obviously understand what's going on. They'll just, by the time they get to a certain age, it'll just be the way of life for them. And they'll understand it, right?
Right, right.
But if you're looking at a kid from the age of like 2, 3 until maybe about 6, 7, 8, maybe even 9 years old, and they grew up, with mom and dad in the house, and now dad and mom are it'll be hard for them because they don't understand. It'll be very traumatic to a kid because they don't understand it. And I think it takes both parents being mature enough to massage the situation with their kid so that they can understand it. You know what I mean? It's because again you're dealing with somebody that really can't comprehend what the heck is going on because all they know is like mommy and daddy, you know, I just know mommy and daddy, we're always in the house together, we always do stuff together. Like they understand that. To understand like, oh, okay, now I'm over here one day, I'm over there one day. Like it's a lot, it's confusing to them. And if you can massage, you know, the situation, and I say that because I know it from experience,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, and so with that, I mean, they're resilient. I mean,
Right.
we all resilient, all of us as human beings, we're resilient, um, and kids are too, you know, and I do think that you know, and like I said, you know, I'm well aware of it, you know, that they they'll get it after a while, and they'll be okay after a while.
Right. Yeah, they'll learn to adjust.
Yeah, yeah,
And I rather do it to give them time to adjust as opposed to, again, like I said, leaving them in that situation where now you're like, man, they're 10, but they'll be out of high school, or let's say they're in sixth grade, they'll be out of high school in the next 5 years, whatever it is, and you're like, you know what, I can deal with it and wait till then. But up until that point, they're seeing all of the unhappiness and
mm-hmm.
all the arguments and all that kind of stuff. And now, you're starting to, in their mind, a lot of times you take after what you've seen in your household. So before you know it, now it's trickled down to them.
Mm-hmm.
And to them, this is what the relationship looks like because that's all they've seen. So you never really gave them a fair shake because you kept them in that toxic environment.
Absolutely. I mean, as we all know, kids are sponges, and they take on what they see. You know, from the home to their peers, and they soak in information. You know, as parents, all we try to do really at the end of the day is drill the best that we can in them, you know, to make the right decision and understand right from wrong. And hopefully that, you know, they don't make any major, you know, bad decisions in life that, you know, will hurt them along the ways. And we also know, you know, part of it too is they got to make mistakes because the only way that they're going to be able to grow from those is is by making mistakes. And I think someone in the chat I saw said, you know, as long as kids feel like they're supported, you know, and if kids feel like you support them and, you know, you let them make the bad decisions so that they can bump their head, that they can come to you and talk to you, you know, or you have that open conversation that you can talk to them after it's done and like figure out, okay, moving forward, like how would you have handled this differently? You know what I mean? But you just hope that really they don't make some serious bad decision before, you know, that happens. You know.
Yeah, so my father, um, I lost my father when I was young, like 7, 8 or 9, somewhere in there. And my mom remarried, and from that marriage, that's how I have my sister. And I wanted a dad, like, and the dude that she married, he was like a cool dude, good looking dude, kind of suave. Um, So I wanted a dad, but they didn't have like a good relationship at all. I don't even remember the dude even really being there that much. And I can remember like knowing that my mom wasn't necessarily happy, and as much as I wanted a dad, I didn't want him because I knew that, you know what I mean, he wasn't handling his business, wasn't really around for my sister and all that kind of shit. So I remember wanting her not to be with him, even though I wanted a dad. And right. They divorced, and I didn't miss a beat, like because of him. She filled the shoes, and I had my grandfather who played her Sears, was like a real influential, strong male role model in my life. But she, and as much as she would have wanted a male in the house for me, even though he wasn't my real dad, but for my sister, she also was like, you know what, I ain't happy, and I'm not gonna put my kids through this, so I'm gonna shake this dude and we're gonna figure it out. And that's what she did. And I'm glad that she didn't keep us in a relationship where she was unhappy. You know what I mean? So I've lived through that. Like, I've been through that. Oh, we got a choo-choo. Our conversation is that off the chain, and we got a little choo-choo?
It looks like it.
Oh, shucky ducky quack quack. We got a little choo-choo.
Well, let's rip
up these engines. Let's rip up these engines.
Well, come on and ride this hype train.
Let's get on this hype train.
But you know, well, let's do this real quick. Hype train is available right now, ladies and gents. If you want to contribute, all you got to do is gift a sub, subscribe yourself, or cheers by giving your bits. Giving bits. Big shout out to Beth, our day one, our ride or die. I think she just gave like 200, 400 bits.
Thank 200, 400.
Actually, 500. She got 500. An anonymous gave 100 bits. I'm not for sure who that was. Somebody anonymous just gave 100 bits.
Sure.
Justice gave 300 bits.
300.
And Justice just gifted a sub to Diva Lioness. So if Diva's up in here, please make sure that you say thank you to Justice gifting you a sub. We just completed level 1. We're in the level 2 hype train. So if you guys want to contribute and move this hype train right along, all you got to do is give your bits or subscribe.
Ho! Yo, I love old clips of Soul Train Lamb because they was getting it. They was getting it.
Yeah. Beth with 500, another 500 bits. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, Beth.
Divine Angel with 300 bits. Thank you guys very
300.
much. So in the level 2 hype train right now, man. So again, big shout out to our moderator, Justice, helping us out inside the chat. Again, if we're in this hype train, so if you want to contribute, help out, please do so. All right. Getting back to the topic here, though, Doc, and I'm gonna read it one more time. In a long-lasting relationship or marriage, is it ideal to stay in love? Excuse me, or just to be in a place of contentment?
I'm gonna be honest, dude. I just want to be happy and content. And I like you a little bit. I think staying in love, I think that's hard. I think it's hard. I think loving somebody is, you can love somebody, but in love, man. And staying in love, like we said, is it supposed to take, like, shouldn't it be easy? Like, do you have to work that hard? Like, if you got to work that hard to stay in love with somebody, I don't think that's the mug for you. If you got, like, of course you got to stay hard to keep the spark, like, but
right.
I got to do all this just to keep that feeling. Like, if you got to do all that, I don't know if that's the person for you. Like, yeah, you got to work on relationships, but I don't know, man. I don't know if you got to work that hard,
bending over extremely backwards to keep this relationship going.
Like that might, like, I'm working way too hard just to. It shouldn't be that hard. That's tough.
But you're saying that you would be okay. I love you. I'm not in love with you, but I love you. And I'm okay to stay here.
Listen, we get along cool. You make a mean grilled cheese and put together a nice little turkey burger with some avocado on that, John. And we enjoy being around each other, because you can enjoy being around each other. You can really like somebody's company and all that, but not be in love with them, but still be content and happy with them, right? Does it have to take, like, I gotta be in love with them in order to have a great relationship? I don't know. That's a real good question. Because my grandparents were together for 50 years. They loved each other for show. I'm gonna have to ask my mom, like, did grandma and grandpa were they in love at the end? She would be able to answer that question. Like, I've only ever known them to be together, like, and they literally died till death do they part. My grandfather passed away first. My grandmother, I think she was around another year, maybe a year and some change. But I think a lot of that also was because my grandfather wasn't around. But was that because she was in love with him, or was it because she was It was being lonely and being with him for so long, right? So I'm gonna have to ask my mom that. That might be a difficult question to ask, but I want to ask, just get her opinion. Were they in love with each other, or were they just happy and content with each other because they had been with each other for so long?
You know, I think that, and I could be wrong. This is just, again, my personal opinion. When you've been with somebody that long, how how can you actually be in love? Like, where's that spark still at? Like, what are you doing? Or is there? Like, you can still have that spark without doing anything, because that person is there. And again, you're talking about grandparents, right? They're in their 80s, 90s years old. They're not
Mm-hmm.
going to the movies and going out to dinner like that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Or at the house, playing cards and having movie night at the house. Like little things like that. They're not doing that anymore. So are they really in love still? Or are they really just complacent that I
They're
love
just
this
content
person?
with it. I love this person. We've been together for 45 years, and I ain't going no place. Ain't nobody gonna want me, and ain't nobody gonna want his stinking ass neither. So here we
Right.
is.
At 80, 90 years old.
Here we is. Like, where are
Like,
we going?
and you just okay right where you are. You know, um, I know that's a good question. That's a really good question. You know, I think, I think a lot of folks, I think a lot of folks, um, are complacent in their relationship.
I think now, like, we're talking about this generation, and we said it earlier. I think now folks are just so quick to give up.
Mm-hmm.
Like grandparents, they wasn't thinking about, yo, man, grandpa would have, I'm not saying mine. So let's get that, let's be clear.
Papa was a rolling
Right.
stone.
Although I think he did have one little frolic. I think he did
Mm.
frolic somewhere. But it would damn near have to be, I mean, something so tragic that would cause that generation to dissolve. Like they worked the shit out. And you would could have kids down the block, right? You could have a whole nother family down the block. And it comes out, but you figure it out. But you don't ever leave. You don't leave the crib. You work it out. So this generation is just so quick to give up from 3 generations ago. Um, but then, like, and we know that relationships take so much work. But are you supposed to put equally amount of work in staying in love? And I think that's where I kind of, because I know you got to work on stuff, but sometimes, like, if I got to work that hard to stay in love with this person, and I'm not, and I don't, that feeling is gone, how do I get it back? Just because now we had a couple movie nights, and I put some whipped cream on her nipple, like, how do you, like, how do you get the falling in love, being in love part back?
Ronnie in the chat said, I don't think love leaves, it evolves into various levels. And to a certain degree, I do agree with Ronnie.
Yeah, I can agree
Uh,
with that.
but I do think that love does leave, though.
I agree. I
I
agree.
do think that love leaves. Um,
or starts to fade a little bit, or
Yeah,
it's not as strong.
right. Absolutely. Um, and I think that's over a period of time of, again, just not working on your relationship. Um, I saw something, and I say, and it's something. There's like little things, that you have to do, or big things that you have to do, um, just to keep your relationship going, right? I saw something on social media today that I sent my boys that are married. I sent it to them. Um, it's I forgot what it's called. It's like dating cards or something like that.
Oh, uh-huh.
But the cards, it's a stack of cards that are like scratchers. And so, like, to make it cute and fun, like, you can hand her three cards and be like, okay, pick one of these and scratch it off, and whatever it's on this card will do, or whatever it may be, right? But it's spontaneous. You have no idea what it is. Um, and I think those are little things, like cute little things that you can do in a relationship to kind of keep, you know, um,
Some type of excitement, some type of spark, something.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, welcome to the chat. Happy little strawberry. She said people give up so easily because we are allowed to, because young people are also getting married way too fast.
Are people getting married fast?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Are they?
Yeah, I might have to agree with that. That one I might have to agree with.
What's fast?
Oh, this is Violet. That's our girl Violet.
Who is?
Happy little
I
strawberry.
mean,
That's Violet.
well, Violet ain't been in here in years.
Yeah. What up, Violet?
What
Thank
up,
you very much.
Violet? What up, Violet? It's been a while. What's up, Violet?
No, I do agree. I do think that a lot of folks out here, and especially this generation, will jump into a marriage very quickly. Um,
So
they
wait,
don't
what is
give you,
considered quickly? What would you consider to be a quick marriage?
you get folks that are like 2 years in and get married, 2 years into a relationship and popping a question. You don't
That
really know the person in 2 years.
2 years is fast?
Oh, heck yeah. Two
I
years,
mean,
I
I
think, is
get it. It
fast.
took it took me about 15. So,
You know what I'm saying? It takes time.
no, for sure. I was just wondering what consensus would consider to be fast.
I mean,
I know I'm nowhere near. Man, I'm slower than a tortoise. Like I know where I'm nowhere near that. But
let
I'm
okay, here it is though, Doc. Okay. 6 months, right? Do you think you really know the person in 6 months?
no, I'm still just trying to figure out how to get the smash right.
Let's add on to another 6 months, which is now a year. You think you know this person?
People, you asking the wrong person. I said it took me 15, so I'm not the person to ask. I
I
already
just
know. I already know I move at a snail's pace.
I think 2 years is too fast. And I know somebody that got married 2 years and a couple of months in, and they popped the question. So really, it was like a year and some change because they had to plan the wedding.
Yeah, that's fast. No,
So it was a year and some change. And their relationship, I think altogether right now, they're like at 3 years and some change, and is already having problems.
oh right. I can imagine.
They're already having
They
problems.
haven't even known each other for 3 years, right?
Yeah. they're having problems, and they are in marriage counseling right now. They are doing counseling at church.
As long as they don't go to your church.
But in this though, Doc, it's kind of like what you were saying though, right? Is you you love this person and you're really working extremely hard. You're going to therapy, marriage counseling, right? One, and then also you're going to church dealing with the pastor, and
Man, that's too much. That's too much,
that's
dude. That's a lot. That's a lot. It's like you don't even have time to even. I mean, because you're constantly getting shit from the outside. You might be getting little assignments, and you might be getting these. Try this, and then here come the pastor and hook y'all up with Bible verses that y'all need to study. And like before you know, like y'all, this is too much. This is too much. It feels like there's always something like that. Feels like there's always pressure. There's always, you know what I mean? It's always just the issues are just always being highlighted, and we're trying to find all these ways to fix it. But I think the more things that you try, I think that also makes it kind of harder too.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm a our girl Violet, which is Happy Little Strawberry. Um, I 100% agree with her on this. She said in the chat, I think before you get married, you should know your person response to life changes, sad events, etc. You don't all of a sudden want to learn that they have anger management problems or see that they abandon their friends, fair weather friends, etc. That I might have to agree. But there's so much stuff there's so much stuff that goes behind getting to know someone before you pop the question. Or even for a woman before you say yes to the guy. Because the guy may think, hey, everything is all dandy and everything is all great. But you still has reservations and you still trying to figure his ass out. And he's like, this she the one for me, and pop the question, and he's on one knee. You don't want to say no and embarrass him and mess up your chances and all this other stuff, so you just say yes. I'm with you. You got to see what type of person that you're dealing with, and people are very good for keeping a mask on. If they good, they'll keep a mask on for some years.
Yes, that's real deal Holyfield.
I think you gotta, and you. I think going back what we were talking about earlier about toxic relationships, right? You gotta rock the boat a little bit to see
to kind of see how they react.
Yeah.
I hear no. So that makes sense. I hear you, but that's kind of fucked up too, though. You're low key like a spy. You setting their ass up. That's kind of fucked up.
Like, how do they deal with situations? Can this person deal with pressure?
So you just make some shit. You just make up a pressure situation to see how they're gonna react.
Me personally, no, I'm not gonna do that. Me personally, I'm not gonna do that. But, heck, is this a good friend? Like, how are your friends? How do you react to your friends? Like, do you have good people around you? Like, a lot of people be like, how are you with your parents? As a test.
Yeah, but so how you just make up a scenario with their parents to see how they're gonna react?
Hey, man.
Oh, I see how you get down.
No,
Oh,
I'm
you
not
over
saying.
here with the booby traps. Okay.
That's not me. I don't do that. I don't do that.
Even your face looks mad suspect. Like
But I'm I look like that because it's like, yes, you need to know what type of person you dealing with.
no, I agreed. I'm not. There's no argument there. I agree. I don't agree to setting up a booby trap to see how they're going to react because now they could then flip it on you and be like looking at you like you're not a trustworthy person if you would
Right.
do
I'm
that.
with you. I'm with you. Now, Ronnie in the chat says, what type of relationship do you have with your mom? I'm on the fence with that. I'm on the fence with that. And the reason why I'm on the fence with that, and that goes mom, dad, brother, sister. Like, you can't gauge how they are with their parents, but not knowing the history.
Of
That,
why they're that way.
right.
I feel you.
Because
Ah,
there can be a lot of childhood trauma that follows behind that.
no, I hear you. Because
Now,
a
if you
lot
got a
of
good
folks use what they had the
relationship,
way that you treat. If you don't treat your mother this way, then you're not going to treat other females this way, your wife this way. But you can be like, yo, you don't know what the fuck my mom did to me. I can't stand her ass because of blah 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 blah. So
right.
you do need to have some background, some context to understand why the relationship is the way that it is. So I do agree with that.
And thank you, Ronnie. Ronnie said in the chat, I agree that that's my point. You need to know all. Hold on. You need to know all of that before going into a relationship with somebody, because if they have unresolved family issues or childhood issues, it's going to spill into the relationship, just in her opinion. And I agree. It will. I will. How much? Now, here's my question, just because of that. If they do have these issues, are you sitting around hoping that they resolve these situations before you guys move forward?
Mm.
You know that there's
I don't know.
some.
I don't know if you're sitting around waiting to resolve the issues. If you have an idea of why the issue is the way that it is, and you have an understanding, then you respect it, and then you let it kind of, um, take its course if it's supposed to heal itself or whatever. If you kind of have an idea of it, then you will know how to move forward. But I don't think necessarily like, well, shit, I'm just gonna wait and see. No, because it may never get right. It may never get right. Or maybe you're like, shoot, well, you want them to have a relationship with your mother but theirs is with their mom is messed up, and maybe you're like, I don't even know if I even, you want them to maybe even become tight with your mom, or maybe that's more of a reason why you might want them to become tight with your parents because they don't have a relationship with theirs.
Mm,
So it could
mm.
go, you know what I mean? It could go. I mean, luckily, even trying to think of my four relationships. I've only been with four women in my lifetime.
How would you say? How would you
No,
say?
no, my lip was itching.
Ah,
For the most part, like if I was in a relationship that was years, my relationship with my mom has always been cool. And if it was up to her, it would even be better than what it is. But at any time, I could call my mom. It don't matter what time of the morning, what time of the night, whatever, and tell my mom literally anything. I don't, just because I'm kind of private, but saying that to say that I've always had a good relationship um, with my mom. So I don't know what it's like to be in a situation like that and not having my mom's endorsement or knowing that she's going to be there no matter what. Like my mom is going to be there no matter what. And a lot of people don't have that. And
Right.
and I actually should appreciate it more than I do. I think I kind of take it for granted.
Right.
Um, so I don't know what I don't know what that's like to, do you sit around and you like maybe see if this girl's gonna work it out with her mama before I decide to go forward with you? Is it that important? Mm.
Justice said in the chat, if they're not trying to address it, I can't stay. Now, here's the thing.
That ain't none of your business though.
If they don't address it, maybe it's something that they, again, childhood trauma that they don't want to address. They want to leave it right where it is. And this trauma of trying to, like, you're trying to be like, well, you need to fix this with your mom, or you need to fix this with your dad, or your brother or sister. You got to fix it.
But it's so far gone, so past that you can't.
Right. Like, I think I would ask the question, like, hey, I see that you and your dad don't, get along too well. Instead of what's going on, what's happening, or like, why is that, or however I would phrase it, and if they're like, well, I don't want to talk about it, I'll be like, now you're not helping me now. If you're, out the gate and it's like, I don't want to talk about it, now you're not helping me. But if you like, hey, at this moment, we can talk about it later. Right now, I don't want to talk about it. Then it's kind of like, okay, I give you a little minute, couple of months or whatever, and we're gonna revisit this conversation because I think I'm gonna need to know.
Like my ex didn't have a relationship with her dad. Hadn't spoke to him in years, like a long time. And I don't exactly know why exactly, if I could, and I don't even know if I even really asked, but he sent us a wedding gift. Like he sent us some money. And homie, that broke her down. She bawled. Like, just couldn't believe that he did that.
Mm-hmm.
Which also went to show that she missed not having her dad.
Mm-hmm.
And they hadn't spoken for years. And that fucked her up. And maybe, and like I said, I never really asked like why they didn't rock. But I remembered like, dang, that really affected her. And you tried to put on this cape and like nothing it doesn't bother me, and this person is not around, but you be affected by that, and with stuff with your parents. So if you don't address it, like I don't know if they ever try to have convo about it or whatever. But like you said, some shit be so deep rooted that you don't talk about it, you don't address it, you sweep it under the rug, but not knowing that, damn, that shit really messed you up.
Mm-hmm. And in it messing you up, is it going to affect
You moving forward.
right
Yeah.
your future relationships? Yeah. Good night, Beth. Have a good night.
With the best say, sorry guys, I gotta run. I have a phone call at this time.
Hey man.
No. We go too far back with it. This is like a booty. This is ain't
Booty
nothing
call.
open right now but legs and 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing open. What kind of phone call does Beth have right now?
Somebody coming over.
Somebody coming through. Because where's Beth at? In Denver. Wait, where's Beth at? Denver?
Yeah.
So in Denver, what time is it?
I think it's 2 hours, right? So it got to be 2 o'clock there.
Oh yeah, but Beth is on some bullshit right now.
Yeah. Why?
I gotta run. I got a phone call.
Why? Why is she on some BS? She just being politically correct and just saying, "Hey, I'm on a phone call." You know what I'm saying? Instead of saying, "Hey, I got somebody."
Hey, I'm about to go fuck. I gotta run. I got a phone call. If you don't get your fake Zoom call having ass right now, I got a Zoom conference call right now.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, Cuban Benny's in Denver. He says it's 1:13 in Denver. Okay.
Oh, so they only an hour ahead? Oh, okay. I thought it was 2 hours ahead.
So what time is it in LA? Oh, it's 12 right
12, now. 12, yeah.
Yeah. It's time to cancel Christmas.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gents, it's time for us to get up out of here.
Yes, it is. I got a plane to catch, and I got to leave here in less than an hour. Yeah, hey, great conversation, though, you guys. Thank you for the hype train. It's cool. We can have deep conversations, too. It don't always have to be about the things that Pee Wee does in church and all that. I don't know if you guys caught what Pee Wee did last week with Sister Blake, but this dude right here is off the chain. But we do appreciate you guys rocking with us tonight.
Thank you, guys. Please, spread the word. Let your friends, your family know. Official Confessions, like Doc said, we have these type of real deal conversations, and we love to spread the word, get more people involved, and tap into Official Confessions. So please spread the word. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, or right here on Twitch, YouTube, and let everybody know Official Confessions in the building, man. All right, we'll be back Wednesday, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, with another fun-filled topic.
Hey, and you guys, if you're not following us on TikTok.
Hey, somebody said that the other day was tic-tac. Tic-tac. And the person was like, no, it's TikTok. Whatever. Tick, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever it's called.
Whatever it is.
Well, make sure you guys follow us on TikTok. And if there's a clip that you guys have seen or that made you guys laugh or you thought was cool, man, please take that clip from one of the shows, share it. Make sure you tag Pee Wee. Make sure you tag us so we can also repost it as well. And we appreciate you guys. Once again, you guys enjoy your Sunday. Have a great Monday. And be great next week. And we will see you guys on Wednesday.